listening to the Suave Lover podcast with your hosts, Benjamin Ritter and James Amaro. SuaveLover.com, advising gentlemen on the art of romance. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode.
You ever do that thing, James, where you dated someone just to get to their friends?
Well, I once dated this girl and then married her friend.
Really? No, really? It's the best way to meet people.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's totally
like
right.
a social group, you know? You're introducing yourself to new people.
Yeah, right.
So what, you got in a couple of them.
Yeah,
It's
right.
fine. What if though, when you're actually with someone and their friends don't like you?
Well, actually, it seems to me that as I'm thinking about this, that happens kind of a lot to me. Part of it is because
You're an ass.
undoubtedly I'm rubbing them the wrong way. But part of it is because it's casual dating. Mm-hmm. And in casual dating, you're not forming maybe the same kind of like thick and thin always. Well, actually, in casual dating, I think that you get complained about to the friends a lot more than you do in other situations. You become suddenly the topic of conversation a little bit more.
Because you have misaligned investment. It can happen in anything, but a lot in casual dating. Mm-hmm. They're talking about you all the time. He doesn't call me. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Of course, they're going to defend their friend. They're going to say, he's an asshole. Why are you with him?
Well, I mean, I think it's funny because I think there's a difference between friends hating you and friends hating the fact that it's any guy who's caused some distraction, let's say. And so very interesting, if you're dealing with this, and I've dealt with it, you've dealt with this a number of times, where you're the bad guy to her friends. Her friends don't like you. They hate you. They just don't want you around. So that's the situation.
Well, a lot of times it's, he's never done anything to me. But he's not good for you. Or it could be,
right.
I just hate him. He's an asshole.
Yes.
Most of the time, personally, I get, he's not good for you, but he's a really nice guy.
Yeah. You should give him to me, is what they're saying, right?
There's different ways to react in both of those situations.
Well, okay, so I think the first, given that we lay out a scenario, I think the first thing that I would suggest, if you find yourself in this situation, is to keep your cool. Don't become defensive, which I think is the first inclination. It's, when somebody attacks me, my gut, my hairs rise up, my gut gets sort of like, and I want to defend myself. They're full of shit, whether they're talking about whatever.
In both situations, you could be out at a bar with all of them, or at a museum, or at a family occasion, or a party, and they could say something, they can make a snide remark towards you about some inside information or something that they've heard. Or it could be your current significant other, your girlfriend, your fuck buddy, whatever, being like, my friends don't like you anyways, or my friends think you're a whore anyways, in like the middle of a fight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great ammunition in a fight. This is unfortunate because, like it or not, the way her friends perceive you is a big factor in the way she perceives you. So to deal with it, you got to not be defensive, but you also not got to be aggressive. You don't be passive.
In any situation. And if you're with them in person, or if you're with her, with your girl, there's no time for you to berate her friends, ever.
The Essentials by Benjamin Ritter is your concise manual for life improvement and success with women. The Essentials has been called a straight-to-the-point lesson in the lost art of being a man. Packed with insights, this book will transform the way you think about dating and relationships. Get your copy of The Essentials by Benjamin Ritter at Amazon.com or in select bookstores today.
The instant retaliation temptation. Yeah. Your friends are fucked up. Your friends don't know me. That isn't going to help because her friends are her friends. They're probably longer term than you. They're probably much closer. They have sway over her. So instead of becoming defensive, I think the first thing that you want to do is figure out what don't her friends like about you. And you're probably going to be surprised when you find out that they don't care about you at all. Mm-hmm. They don't like that she's happy. Because they're those kind of friends. That's going to happen a lot.
Or they don't like that she's not happy.
They don't like that.
It could be either one.
They've put all of her dissatisfaction from her general dissatisfaction onto you.
But how do you... So she can tell you why her friends don't like you.
Okay.
Or they can tell you why they don't like you.
Sure.
More likely she's going to tell you. More often than not, what she tells you is going to be complete bullshit. They may just not like you, taking her away from them.
Sure.
But so how do you kind of figure it all out?
Okay, so my friends think you're a total fucking asshole. Oh, what have I done to give them the feeling? And you know, well, that one time that we had that fight, you mean the fight where you came over late and we had the argument?
What did you tell your friends?
What did you tell them? Right, exactly. So now, if you can avoid the first temptation to be defensive or to be aggressive, then you can hopefully have a reasonable and productive conversation. Now, this shouldn't be academic, it shouldn't be intellectual, but you should understand why they don't like you. Because chances are good they don't like you because of the way she's represented you to them, or the way you've represented yourself to them, or the fact that you are taking her time and energy away from them. In other words, they have a reason. Yeah.
On Sunday morning, when she's laying in bed with you.
There's something in it for them. Yeah. That is what's going on. They've lost something. Right. Now, knowing that gives you really useful ammunition to figure out what do you got to do about this, and probably the chances are good you don't got to do anything about it.
Actually, when you're sitting there talking to her, you're not going step by step in a logical
conversation. No.
You're literally probably having your arms around her, being like, I only want us to work out. What do your friends really don't like about us? What can I do to improve it? You're being comforting. You're being supportive. You are being positive.
Yes.
There is no negativity. There is no raising your voice. There is no logical conversation. There is comfort with a little bit of trying to get some information. Comfort, let her vent a little bit about her friends. You're not going to be able to just directly be like, why don't your friends like me?
Jesus, your friends are stupid assholes, and by the way, your mom's a whore. I mean, none of that sort of listen, feel it in your
James,
gut.
I didn't know you felt this way.
Feel it in your gut, write it down in your journal, but that's not what you're going to come at her with, right?
So let's say you do find out my friends don't like you because they think you're a player.
Sure. Okay, great. So if you're a player, how do you handle that? Well, at least you got a guy in your life, finally. Sweetheart, you got a guy who really cares about you, who really likes you, and we're having a good time here. Do you not like being around me? I mean, you've got to make sure that you can own being a player, because if you can't, her friends have just outed you. You've got to own being an asshole if her friends think that, boy, he just comes across as being real smug. Oh, sweetheart, you know that you like that about me. You don't want a guy who's timid and insecure. You've got to be able to, I think, positively reframe whatever her friends come at you with. But hopefully you don't get into an argument with her friends through her. That was not what you want to do here. You want to work out what her friends are saying about you or why they don't like you, and you want to spin it, I think, in your favor.
There's no defensiveness. There's no rebuttal. There's, like you said, acceptance. And then maybe also reaction in a different moment. Do something romantic for her.
Sure.
Every now and then, maybe reflect on your own actions. If they think you're a player, but you just cooked a romantic dinner for her and had the most unbelievable sex or anything that she can, she's relaying all that to her friends. Everything you do for her is going to be reflected back to her friends. So if you do want to combat this in any way, instead of being defensive, just do a couple nice romantic things that counteract maybe the player mentality, even though you are accepting the fact that you have a lot of girlfriends and that you've dated a lot and you're experienced and you know how to treat her because of that and you know what you want because of that.
Yeah, I think that's the important way of framing it up is you do have experience, you do know what you want, you like what you're doing here. If they say, well, you know, he's not a life partner for you. Are you looking for a life partner? Is that what you want right now? Well, this has to go somewhere. Okay, do you want it to go somewhere tonight? Because usually...
You can make a joke.
Yes, being playful and light about it.
Usually the best answer to conflict or frustration, the majority of the time, is reframing it as a joke. The worst response is, but she goes around town and fucks all those motherfuckers. You see the boyfriend she's with right now? She cheats on him every fucking week. You're getting aggressive and you're picking on her friends for their own actions, which as much logical sense as it is to you, it's you don't do that.
No, this is one where kind of no matter what she says, wherever you are in the relationship, you accept it and you accept that her friends don't like you.
How to Start a Kinky Relationship by James Amaro is the definitive guide to successful, alternative, romantic relationships. The book has been called 50 Shades of Grey for real people. Educational, informative, and irreverent, this book has something to offer anyone who is curious and sexually adventurous. Get your copy of How to Start a Kinky Relationship by James Amaro at Amazon.com or in select bookstores today.
Now, ideally, her friends won't be unnecessary cock blocks or unnecessary sources of drama.
You're already fucking her.
Well, that may not last.
That's
depending on how her friends have colored you in. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do then, I think, also is sort of minimize the amount of time. This is kind of like if she's got a crazy family and you hate her family and you just sort of like butting heads. Minimize the amount of time that you become relevant to them. If she wants to go out on Thursday with the girls, go drinking, Friday, Saturday, she wants to go to nightclub, let her do it with your permission and approval. And then maybe she crawls into bed after she's had her fun, so that if you're worried that she's seeing other guys, well, I mean, if you're not serious about her in the first place, then what do you care if she goes and sees other guys?
You kind of like the overarching advice is you don't really have to care that her friends don't like you, but you shouldn't be giving them reasons not to like you.
And you've got to be careful about how you react when you're confronted with the fact that they don't like you, right?
They're almost like parents to her.
Well, they're very close.
You treat them almost like parents, except that you can throw in some flirting. Like you can play, not... You can be playful in your interactions with her friends in a way that you can't with like an authority figure, a parental figure. I'm not saying get sexual with them whatsoever.
No.
But show them that you care about their interests. Show them that you care about their life.
And about hers.
And about hers. And also be a person that they can't see anything negative about with your interaction with them.
Yeah.
So if you're in front of them and you're interacting with them, you're treating your friends almost like you're networking with them. And then also you can throw in every now and then something positive about the person you're seeing. I wanted to take her to this place, or I did this with her last time, or I really love this about her. You're dropping little tidbits of, you're showing her friends that you care.
Yeah.
Basically. And that you have her interests in your mind. And you also are a decent enough person to care about who she cares about.
Well, not surprisingly, if the reason her friends don't like you is because they're jealous, then you've got sort of a different approach that you're going to take. And that approach is perfect when they're looking out for her best interest, but not everybody affiliates with people who are good for you.
You could do that, but then you're then allowing her to be everything that she used to be with her friends.
And that might do it. But sometimes her friends are just bitchy. I mean, if they're just jealous that she's happy. I remember one girl in the dorm when I was in college, and she was really cute. And her roommate, who was her close friend from way back, was not the pretty girl. And that not pretty girl resented the fact that this girl had found a guy who she really liked. We wound up moving in together a little bit later, right? So it was actually pretty serious. She was a fucking thorn in everybody's side, but she did it out of this complete sense of jealousy, as it came out later. A complete sense of jealousy. And sometimes the best thing to do there is not to fight it, not to argue, not to comment, is to just pretend it doesn't exist. Focus on what you and the girl are doing.
It's the black sheep in the family of friends, and everyone has one.
Yes,
so
and that'll happen.
All the time.
Right.
There's a couple DUIs. That just... And it's like, she knows she's bad for her.
Yep.
But for some reason, for just some fucking reason, this is the girl she wants to spend her time with and talk
to. Jealous, bad influence, just a frustrating person to be around. Those girls are going to be out there. So in that sense, when you deal with that, you don't sort of fight it. You just acknowledge it and say, that's where I am with this one. Let's not make waves.
You ignore the elephant in the room. Because her sphere of influence on your relationship, because she is the black sheep, is probably pretty small. She can cause some conflict. She can cause some frustration. She might be the person to call you out when you're all out together and be kind of negative and snarky. But people know she's negative and snarky.
Yeah, that actually is exactly how this turned out too. I mean, when I was with this girl, we were really, really into each other. We had a really good vibe and a good energy. We were into each other. It's when we started going and hanging out in groups where we're like, oh, Your friends really don't like the fact that you're happy, do they? You've surrounded yourself with some convenient acquaintances who will presumably be there for you through thick and thin, but they'd rather that it be thick, difficult. They really like that drama. Well, there's an insight. Remember, guys, girls love drama. If they're not getting it from you, they're going to get it from work. They're going to get the excitement from another romance. They're going to watch Grey's Anatomy. There's some drama to be had. And in some sense, if her friends hate you, relish that. Enjoy the fact that there's a little drama to be had, because as long as she's coming back and bitching and arguing with you and it's not driving you to drink, driving you crazy, good. She's invested. She's engaged. She's got things to complain about. Trust me, things could be a lot worse than the fact that her friends don't like you, but she's still coming over. She's still sleeping with you. Still have a great time together. And on Saturday night when they go out clubbing, you're not invited.
Which is actually a really good situation.
Yeah, probably, right.
And the only time you have to see your friends are the holidays when they do a Friendsgiving for an awkward half an hour.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In 10 years, if you're still seeing her,
great.
You probably won't have her friends around much.
No, probably. Yeah. She will have your children that she is having Thanksgiving with, if that's the road you want to go down. Good luck, dude.
And hopefully they don't gang up on you too.
The kids?
Yeah.
Boy, Dad's a real asshole, Mommy. Why did you marry him?
Avoid him. Don't be defensive.
Yeah, that's right. If your kids are messing up your arrangement with your wife.
You have been listening to the Suave Lover podcast. Visit suavelover.com to become the kind of man that women crave.